Are you a woman of faith or open-minded seeker, wanting to make a difference, but find yourself asking, how can I heal my emotions and overcome the hurt, pain, and regrets of my past? How can I break free from the medical matrix and heal my mind and body holistically? How can I lose weight without losing my joy? How can I live in this world without being consumed by it? How can I have more of God's blessings, miracles, and protection over my life? If you resonate with any of these questions, you are in the right place, my sister. Welcome to the Sharing the Bliss podcast, where we help women of faith soothe their souls, heal their bodies, and live their bliss in a time like this. Join me, Coach Carmen Abercrombie, certified holistic health coach, author, speaker, and founder of Sharing the Bliss, and my co-host, Coach Denise Beecham, the Wellness Diva, on this weekly joyful transformational journey. Because regardless of your current circumstances, your breakthrough begins today. Welcome to the Sharing the Bliss podcast. I'm your host, Coach Carmen.
And I'm Coach Denise.
Today, we're so excited because we are about to start a new series entitled Wellness Warriors. We're going to start off the series by introducing you to one of our beloved 28-day Body and Soul Detox clients named Vera Gill. And Coach Denise, you know how we feel about Vera. You were the one that introduced me to Vera.
Yes, Coach Vera is amazing. Her energy and drive is totally unmatched. She has a passion for what she does. She has a passion for helping people. I just think that she is amazing.
Yes, she came into our world, well, into my world as a client, but she was already helping others when she was going through the 28-day Body and Soul Detox. The reason why I'm so excited about sharing her to our audience and to the world is because she has been such an inspiration to me and so many others. And I've never met anyone quite like Vera, who has been through so much in her own life. She has no problem sharing what she knows with others. Even when, during her darkest hours, she's always there to help others. And so that's why we're here to welcome Coach Vera. Hi, Coach Vera.
Hi, Coach Vera.
Hello, ladies. Hello, coaches. How are you? So glad to be here amongst the greatness that exists right here in this space.
Thank you so much. A lot of greatness going on right here. Then thank you. We receive it and we thank you in Jesus' name. But we just know that you are amazing. And I'm excited to hear your story. I've heard it before, but I would like, if you don't mind, to share how you became Coach Vera and, what trials and tribulations you had to go through, your mess submission story, your pain to power story, your purpose to prosperity story, because you're an entrepreneur as well. So go on and let us know how you want to start to share your story with us.
All right. Amen to that. Thank you so much. I receive it and I appreciate all the love I always feel around you. And, that's what keeps me coming back. That's what I was telling you. As you're helping people, what people mostly feel is the love. They don't even care how much you know until they know how much you care. So that's a real important thing that I feel in this group. That's what keeps me coming back years later. So Vera, the story of Vera. I was raised by a single mom, myself and my sister, in Manus Harbor's projects, housing authority, however you want to call it. My mom was always a hard worker. Her push was for education. I was an asthmatic at the age of 1.5 years. I cardiac arrested 3 times. So my mom would always watch me whenever we went to reunions, family reunions. I couldn't go too far out of her sight. She didn't want me to get sick out of town. So we was kind of glued just based on that. I love my mom. Her big push for all of us was education. That was her dying wish. I have 3 children. They're all college educated. Because of my childhood illnesses, allergies, really bad allergies, asthma, I still was athletic. I was like the captain of a lot of teams. I was academically great as well. Because I was home, like I said, I was under her thumb, so I was reading books. My mother used to give me Man Child in the Promised Land, Go Tell It on the Mountain, books like that at a young age. So that's what helped just build my confidence. I wanted to get into nursing to help people. I always had a desire to help people, help myself, most of all, of course, which is frequent asthma attacks and ended up in a hospital. It wasn't fun. It cuts you off from school and your friends, so it always interests me. So I graduated with my RN in 1992, had a great career, started in a nursing home. Actually, I started as home health attendant, certified nursing assistant, LPN, RN. Then I got certified as a critical care nurse. My last job was at Brooklyn VA Medical Center in the ICU. So I loved all of that. But my mother was a cancer survivor, 30 years. She found the Seventh-day Adventist Church when I was 12, and she credited them, their health message, for keeping her alive. My mother had the radical mastectomy, but her lymph nodes and her muscle tissue, everything was negative for cancer. So she refused chemo, radiation, or the chemo pill. And she got 30 years after surgery.
Wow.
With no treatment. So that always impressed upon me. And we know how the sins of our parents fall on us. So I also was a CLL leukemia survivor. I was diagnosed in 2009 at 44 years old.
Wow.
43 years old, yeah. And she was like 44 when she got hers. So it was right around the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't really take the faith so serious. I went to 8th grade and I finished high school in the Seventh-day Adventist high school. I didn't want to go to college. I kind of fell away from the church. When I got sick and was out of work in 2011, I had a job-ending injury in 2011 at the VA. That's when I got back into the church. And my cancer was there, but it wasn't active.
You were in remission?
Remission is not the proper terminology for my kind of cancer. I have a blood cancer. So the blood cancer means it's already throughout your body. It's from your brain to your toes already. It's in your body. Actually, my bone marrow produces this cancer. So what they call it is wait and watch, because some people never need treatment. And early treatment doesn't help you. So you have to, this is the only cancer you have to wait till you get to stage 4 before you treat it. So you got to make sure it's active. Mine was not active. I mean, I was very susceptible to infections, so I was always extra careful, even at work. And when people tell you masks don't work, it's not true. I always wore my personal protective equipment while at work, dealing with all kinds of infectious diseases, and I never got sick from patients. I got sick from staff. A sick coworker come in, she's sitting next to me, we're using the same phone. That's where I would get sick, not from the patient.
Yeah.
So I believe in the barrier method, and I use it very frequently now as CLL. So my CLL was diagnosed in 2009. I didn't hit stage 4 until 2022.
That was the first time you had hit stage 4, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it moved quick. But things started in 2020. My numbers started moving. I became more symptomatic. As soon as all that infection was released into the world, that's when my CLL started waking up. You could tell. So the 2022, I got a really bad sinus infection. I got COVID in 2021, which I'm pretty sure that helped propel things with my immune system beating it down. By 2022, I had a horrible sinus infection, which was almost worse than the COVID I had. I had COVID pneumonia. I had 103.8 fever that could not break. I was filled up with fluid. I felt like I was drowning and being burnt at the same time. So I went into the emergency room. I got the steroid injection that helped clear up some of the mucus. And then my son took me to NYU, where I got the monoclonal antibody infusion. So that was antibodies from everybody who had COVID and all that stuff. I don't know if that worked, but I had a come to Jesus moment with God, where I asked him, how could he allow me to get sick? He wanted me to do this work for him.
let's go back to the time when you were going through COVID and you were taken through this journey of healing. So you stepped into traditional medicine because you had to. Because I realized with COVID that you can't just be one track minded with COVID. You can't just be totally holistic. You have to step into the other realm because it's on a whole nother level.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's just something that, right, Coach Denise, it's just something totally different. I found that out with my husband. I was trying to help him with all these holistic options and things. And some things actually turned on me because he, you know, I didn't really, everybody deals with COVID differently and it affects us differently. You know, so it's not just one trick pony. So that was the smartest thing that you could have done, Coach Vera, to just go on and let them do what they had to do, fusions, whatever, because you're here with us today for that reason, I believe, which is awesome.
The experts actually recommend that you use both because, first of all, it's their poison, so they have
the antidote to their
right,
poison.
it's their poison, so they have the antidote. So you need a quick fix, but holistic is the long-term thing to do.
Yes,
but it doesn't work that quick. So if you catch it early, you good. But if you don't catch it early, go with the conventional and come on back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how we did it. Yeah. I mean, I think it was my faith. I think it was a lot of things. But I can tell you one thing: even after the monoclonal antibodies, those fevers were not breaking. They wasn't breaking until we used our natural remedy called the super flu balm. I was taking the Tylenol, I was taking my little antibiotics, and that thing was laughing at it. But when I drank that super flu balm, I felt the fever break. I was like, wait a minute, I'm sweating. Oh, okay, what's going on? So that's what made me a believer. And Dr. McBride, who's also a regular doctor, but she's now a holistic doctor, when I told her, I'm good, I got antibiotics, I got a nebulizer, I don't need no steam inhalation, I don't need no super flu balm. She just laughed. She said, okay, you'll figure it out. And she was right. So that started, that woke up the cancer. And it just started growing from there. Absolutely. So when I had the bad sinus infection, what we do is we look at my white blood cells. So it's supposed to be 4 to 10 on a normal person. I was still close to 20s for 15 years, but that's considered wait and watch. Some people's white blood cells go up to 200. It's not a one fit for everybody. This leukemia is very different. What the signs for treatment is your white blood cells double in. You're symptomatic, so you have a night sweat. You're losing weight unintentionally. You're just you have a mental fog. So your body's shutting down, your brain is shutting down. You know something is going on and it's beyond what you can take care of. So that's when you know. And some people have enlarged, what is it? Your spleen. Some people's spleen is so big, they lacerate from the ribs. And everybody has a different presentation of this disease. Mine was, it was deemed as moderate when I first was diagnosed. So it wasn't extreme or fast, and it wasn't slow where I might not never need treatment. It was intermediate. So once I got the infection, the sinus infection, I needed 2 different antibiotics. I was kind of dizzy after that. Like I would have like these, I don't know, I would just feel dizzy. So I knew something extra was going on. That's when I really relied even on your 28-day body and soul because I couldn't eat solid food. My body was immediately attacking it, and it felt like it was trying to rip it through my ribs instead of going down out of my colon, into the toilet and stuff. So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I got to eat. So that's when I started the raw and the juicing, and my body loved it, and I was able to get the most nutrients because it was nutritionally dense. So I was able to feed my body without overwhelming it, without my body feeling like it needed to attack it. And I was like, wow, there's something to this. And it's unfortunate that we don't accept the help or the lifestyle while we're well. And those of you who've done it, that's great. But when we wait till we're sick, you got to make a believer out of us now. And I am a firm believer.
You said you believe you started the first detox. You did the first detox. Do you remember Coach Denise when she did the first detox? Was it 2019 or do you remember?
It was before the pandemic.
Yes.
It
I
was
agree.
before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So it was before the pandemic. Now,
Yes.
that means that it was before you went into stage 4. What made you decide to do the detox? Like you said, you had already been brought up with 7-day Adventist principles, and you knew how to follow that holistic, faith-based process for health and wellness. What made you decide to join the 28-day Body and Soul Detox program?
It was a last resort thing. My mother had told me, like, it wasn't even just that I learned it growing up or read it in the Bible. I've seen it firsthand with my mother. How my mother got 30 years with
Amazing.
no chemo, no radiation, no
Amazing.
pill, nothing. So I wanted her story. So I was
Mhm,
like, let me do what she did.
mhm,
And she never pushed it on us.
mhm.
She'd be like, "Oh, you drinking that tea with the stuff floating around? What's that?" When we were so used to the Lipton tea bags and putting it in, don't know we having poison and caffeine and all this other stuff. But she didn't push it on us. The food too. It's like, what's that mushy looking? That ain't no meat, you know. So we didn't jump on board. Bottom line, we didn't jump on board. 2018 is when I know I went through the medical missionary training. And I felt I lost 10 pounds. I felt so much better, but it was a bad detox. Like I felt so sick, and I was like, how can I be doing better and feeling so sick? So that's when I started doing it gradual. Like I said, okay, I'm taking all the red meat out this year. All right, I'm taking all the dairy out this year. I'm playing around with the eggs for a little bit, then I'm gonna take that out. And my body accepted that a little bit better. The drastic didn't work. So like I said, definitely by 2022, 21, after COVID, I was like, this thing is serious. It really dragged me. I need to restore my reserves. It was a last resort for me to go all the way to the raw. It was something I was reluctant to do. It looked like it was a lot of work, and I was like, I don't want to do this. And then I was like, boo boo, you don't got a choice now. If the regular food that you're eating is trying to exit out of your ribs painfully, with every peristalsis, something feel like it's trying to bust out of your ribs, you have to figure this out. So I had a come to Jesus moment, and God said, listen, I already prepared you with everything in front of you. Pick one. One of those you got to start.
Coach Denise was the one that signed you up?
Coach Denise. It was Coach Denise.
Oh, okay, so Coach Denise signed you up. So Coach Denise, when you signed up Coach Vera, what did you say to her? Like, how did that work out when she ended up signing up for the detox?
Yeah. So what happened was when I started working with Coach Vera at the 7-day Adventist Church, I was actually in the middle of doing the detox. I think we were like maybe halfway through it. So I came in there talking about it. You know, she was
Oh, yeah.
doing her oh my goodness, what is the name of the
I do Herbalife.
she was doing Herbalife, and a lot of it was reminding me of some of the things we talk about during the detox. So I told her, say, oh yeah, I'm in the middle of doing a 28-day Body and Soul Detox, and she asked me about it, and I gave her
The whole class asked you about it.
yeah. And we were just talking about. So I just was telling her about the detox, what I was doing, what I was eating, and she was interested, and she signed up, which was
Okay.
it was a good thing because I was just really starting to feel my way as a detox coach to sign up people. Like I had signed up people before, but I had never actually went in and started talking to people about it like that. I was literally like one of the first times I had actually done that.
Wow.
So, Vera, so when she talked to you about it and she said, yes, it piqued your interest. When you taught me about the 7-day Adventist principles, I was like, I don't know of any other principles except maybe Muslim principles of wellness. Not too many, definitely not Christian wellness principles, unfortunately. And I am a Christian, and I never heard that before. So you were familiar with this because this is how you were taught. So you felt like the detox made sense because it fit right into that. So
Absolutely.
it was,
Absolutely.
Mhm,
Absolutely. And
mhm.
back to the coach part. So
Yeah.
again, 2011 is when I left. Well, I didn't leave nursing, but that's when I got sick and went out. 2011. I did some stuff up until 2021 when I got COVID, home care and stuff like that. Then I'm actually certified as a fitness coach, group fitness coach, and nutrition coach. So I got my certification because I work with Denise and I work with Victor. We were all a team of fitness professionals who went to Zoom, but we also did it in person in the churches. That's how we all met. Basically, why I thought it was a good idea, I'm looking at Denise. And I know she's older than me. And I'm like, how this chick has got it going on? Like, wait a minute. We even had a guy, he was so fascinated. He was like, oh, Denise is coming? The Pilates coach? The wellness diva? I was like, yeah, who are you? Like, okay, we're going to put you down as super fan. Okay. So, yeah, it's a powerful thing, like all of it. I just love nutrition and fitness together, period.
Yeah,
It's the holy grail. It is what it is.
Say your thing, Denise, what you normally say about that.
Well, if the nutritional and the physical are not matching, it's not gonna happen. They both work hand in hand. But I also wanted to say that I also learned from Coach Vera that her mother was plant-based. I never knew any of that. And I always liked her mother. Like I would see her every once in a while, like, hi, Miss Gill, how you doing? You know, she always come up to me and speak, ask me about my mother. But I had no idea that she was plant-based. I found that out the day I was telling Vera about the detox. And I said, well, you know, this detox is plant-based. It goes from cooked vegan all the way to juicing. It's all plant-based.
And that must have excited you, Vera. That must have definitely excited you. Now, at the time, you just took the ball and you ran with the raw vegan. Now, you didn't know that the 28-day Body and Soul Detox was going to consist of raw vegan at the time, right?
I didn't know the whole ramifications of it, but she said there's a cookbook. I said, a cookbook?
Yeah, because I didn't really go into it. I just said it consists of raw vegan, cooked vegan, and juicing.
You tell us what foods to buy. You said there's like a list of what you need.
Yes.
I said, oh, you're going to take me by the hand and walk me through this? Okay.
Yes, because I remember I said there's two books. I said there's a detox book and then there's a cookbook, which makes it really easy to follow along with the detox. I remember that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because when I heard that you was going to give me everything I need, not just a cookbook, but also each material, what seasoning, I was like, wow, this is really detailed. Because it's like raw vegan for dummies. Like, you don't have to even be a previous cook. I'm telling you, they was going to take my black card back because I can't fry nobody's chicken or nothing. So I was like, okay, you're going to help me. Help me. I need some help.
Yes, absolutely. And so, because you were preparing the plant-based food before the detox, but
I wasn't deep into it. No. You know what we used to do? Because we have a food company. Oh God, the name escapes me at the moment, but we would buy processed plant-based food.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, let's get it right now. Yeah, Loma Linda, that stuff.
Okay, so you didn't have to do a whole lot of cooking from scratch or anything.
But also, it wasn't as healthy as it is.
No.
We moved away. Like everything's a transition.
Yes.
So when you talk about it, Loma Linda, they're part of a blue zone where people have lived over 100 years old. Okay.
Yes.
Then they started packaging it, and that's where you lose it with the processing.
Yes.
You're putting it in cans. You're putting so much salt in it to preserve it and stuff like that. So people were getting sick even from that food, and we didn't really realize. So now we're into teaching you that we don't want you buying our can of foods. We want it to come off a bush, out the ground, or off a tree. That's it. You process it at home.
Yes. Yes. Well, this is exciting.
So I remember this. My brother, who went to your church.
Love your brother. Mm-hmm.
He invited me and his children to a function that was going on there. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the program, we went downstairs and this was even before I told you about the details. I didn't even know much about plant-based. Cartman had been talking about it, but I didn't really know too much about it. It was literally going in one ear and out the other.
Right.
And so we went downstairs and I heard the word vegan. And I said, vegan? Well, they're not serving no macaroni and cheese or something down there. So we get down there and we got served a plant-based meal, unbelievably delicious than anything I had ever tasted in my life. It was so good, and I could not believe that what I was eating was not meat. And we had this, they had the salad, they had the fruit, they had the vegan cheese, we had vegan macaroni and cheese down there, and we had vegan meat, and it was absolutely delicious. That was my absolute very first vegan meal ever.
Yes.
And you know what's interesting, I just wanted to jump in and say this. What's interesting is that your brother, who went to Coach Vera's church, he ended up doing the detox like her several times, which is why we have a 12-month program now, because it's like,
Yes.
over and over again. It's like, what is it? Let's just make it like evergreen where they can stay in as long as they want. You know, once they do 12 months, come back in another 12, because it took me 2.5 years to heal my body completely.
Right.
Death's door to becoming Coach Carmen. You know, it took that long, and it does take time. But your brother, so he was in it, right?
Yes.
He was doing his thing.
Yes.
When he signed up, you signed him up to do the detox, and he never stopped. He kept signing up again and again. So
Yes.
I guess he had the same mindset that you did, Vera. You know, just feeling like, oh wow, you mean there's a program that I can be a part of that understands these principles? You know, and then I can be around other people who understand that, you know, even outside of the church, which is rare outside of the church, to have that community.
He said he needed to be supported. Like, he knew that the church served vegan meals, but he didn't know how to prepare those meals. He had no idea of how those meals were prepared. It's not like he was in the kitchen watching them put those meals together. So he had no idea how to prepare. So if he ate there, whatever he ate there, he did not eat when he got home. He ate whatever he ate normally. Right.
Wow.
So, because I remember I brought it up, I said, isn't your church, don't they serve vegan? He said, yeah, but I need support. I don't know how to make those foods.
Just to, you know, give props to the church. They at least teach. I don't know how long they've been doing this, but I know I went to a class. Someone you introduced me to, Coach Vera, as a client. You gave me a referral, Carol, and Carol, you know, sent me the information about the event, and she said, "I'll sign up if you come to the event. I'll sign up for the detox." Yeah, I was like, okay. So I went to the event. You brought me there, and I felt like you feel being in the detox. You know, I felt that way going to the church, because I was like, look at my people. Like, everybody's getting it. They understand about plant-based. They understand.
Yep.
And then when the sister was having her food demo, I was like, drop the mic, because I do food demos, and it's exciting when you find the people. You know what I mean? That relate to you.
I was impressed that you know, because I know, like you said, you're a food snob. So I was like, you liked it? That was Lois Grant, yes, and she is multi-talented. She has like a complete wellness center going on. That's a whole nother story. Now back to her brother for 1 second. So I had left the church. I was rebellious. I was out in the street, in the world, whatever, and I would run into G, and he'd be like, "Oh, we having a good old time at 80 Union Avenue. I don't know why you ain't there." He actually brought me back into the church.
Look at that. Wow.
So, you know, so because he's like, yeah, me, your mom, everybody, where you at? I was like, right. Let me get back.
It gives me chills, because it just shows how God connects the dots for us.
Yes, yes.
But some people, they don't want to allow God to connect the dots, so they don't see it as God connecting the dots. And they're like, they just want to, they're so much into their own head, and many times into their own flesh, that they don't allow the Holy Spirit to flow with them and say, and be open to say, wait a minute, if she's reaching out to me and then I got this epiphany, maybe I need to lean in, and they miss the boat. They miss the boat. And then you have people like you who were already on the boat, and you said, you know what, I'm going to get on another boat, a bigger boat, or a boat with more people that, that I can work with. Whatever analogy you want to use, the bottom line is that you are ready to up level.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
God used him because he's from my neighborhood. I've known him. And if he's telling me it's a good time at the church, I'm like, okay, you're right. What am I waiting for? And, I had my injury and I was like, okay, the only person who was helping me do everything was God. I said, let me get back over there and pay homage and spend time with my mom and get back closer to God and, get my health together. But that was in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then me and Denise, we hooked up, I don't know, 2015, 2016, something like that.
Yeah, it was around 2016, something like that, because I had just came back to Staten Island. I saw you when I was still in New Jersey, remember? And I said, what are y'all doing over there? What's all these classes going on? I want to teach in there. What's going on?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I saw you even before I moved to Staten Island, back to Staten Island. I saw what you were doing, and I said, no, I need to be in there. I need to teach those classes. And at that time, I already knew that I was going to be coming back to Staten Island, just didn't know when, but once I got back, I was there.
It's always on God's timing. It's always on God's timing.
Always.
So, Coach Vera, so let me just ask you, because you know what, in fact, why don't you come back and we do a part 2, because there's so many aspects of your life that needs to be shared. Well, what I want to do, see if we can squeeze this in, and then we'll come back and we'll do a part 2. I just want to ask you now, you hit the ground running with the detox, and one of the things I love about you so much is how willing you were to share all of your food. I mean, you are a TikTok queen, and you would create these dishes from the cookbook, and you kept, like giving big ups to the cookbook and making the food, like just knocking it out of the park and showing your food journey and all the different recipes that you were into and making. And you, like Coach Denise, man, the two of y'all, it's like you would take the recipe and you make it, and some of that stuff, I'd be like, wait, did I make that? Did Coach Denise made that? Oh, that's Coach Denise's plate. I thought it was my food. Because you were such good students in terms of like just taking the recipes and duplicating them. But then you started adding your own flavor, your own stuff, and to them, and to make them work. To be like you throw sweet potatoes in something, and all that. And I just love it. But just what was it about the cookbook and all that made you so motivated, even though you were struggling health-wise many times, being on the feet, having to, prepare the food. A lot of people have excuses about why they can't prepare the food. They don't have the time, this and that, the other thing. What made you so passionate about the cookbook and preparing the food and getting into it like that from where you were?
Well, I've always been the teacher's pet. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to be the best. I learned that when I went to college. I was in an auditorium full of people, maybe 150, 200 of us. The professor knew my name. I raised my hand. She said, yes, Vera. I said, so my mother sent me to private school. She's like, if you're going to be in something, get my money's worth. I'm struggling to do this for you. So make sure you get everything out of it. And I've always just approached everything like that. If I'm going to invest my time, I want to get everything. And I just love the idea of a cookbook. You guys was the one to tell me to stop saying you can't cook. Because I'm like, as far as I know, Vera can't cook. The whole family knows Vera can't cook.
What? So, I remember that. What?
Yes, honey. I told you it's going to take my black card. I can't fry no chicken. So when you gave me step by step, and then you're telling me, oh, make sure it's not overseas and taste it, because when it heats, it's going to even intensify the flavor. I said, okay, make sure you flip it over. So it's like you can't mess it up.
Amen.
So I'm always the type of person, just give me my stuff and watch me work. Okay, I got it.
Show me what to do.
Yeah, give me what I need. I tell them at the job, as a nurse, you want me to save a life? I don't have no defibrillator. Give me what I need. I'll make it happen. So,
Amen.
yeah.
Amen. Coach Denise, you were the same way, right? You were
Yeah.
like, right?
Yep. Well, I worked with a woman when I was working in New Jersey, but I was like that probably even before that, but she kind of like brought it out of me because they were always famous for giving me tasks to do that I've never done before. Wasn't even part of my job description, to be honest. And she called me in her office one day and she said, Denise, listen, I know that a lot of these things that I'm bringing to you, you have no idea what to do with it. But she said, but when I give you something to do, or if anybody gives you something to do, you need to own it. And I never forgot that. Never forgot it. Never forgot. It was the same when I decided to be a Pilates instructor. And it was funny because it was my ex-husband who put it in my mind because he said, you love Pilates. Why don't you be an instructor? I was looking at him like, I ain't trying to be no instructor. Are you crazy? And then it popped in my head again, what this woman said. She said, well, if somebody puts something in front of you, own it.
You were making food before you got into the cookbook, the detox.
Oh, yeah.
But you flipped it.
Yes. I just flipped it because I could cook anything under the sun. My mother taught me well. And
Right.
I was able to prepare an entire Thanksgiving dinner all by my lonesome with
That's
no
all.
problem. So for me, the cooking part of the detox, all it was just from one aspect to another. That's all it was. But the cooking part of it came
Right.
pretty easy. Yeah.
Right. So switching it out from the meat and all to plant-based was the thing you had to do. Then we step into the raw vegan, which I just feel so blessed to have been able to introduce the raw vegan to so many of my people who like had no clue about raw food, and to see them take it and run with it and really get into it, especially when I know that is where the changes truly begin. I mean, plant-based is a hot diggity dang dang for sure. But once you go raw, your healing level goes like from the plant-based will bring you up here and you see things falling off of you and all, especially if you're organic plant-based. That organic plant-based, important, because you can eat anything plant-based and put, stuff, cook it with a whole lot of inorganic ingredients and all, and still have all of those pesticides and all of the bad stuff that's going to continue to keep you sick. So you're feeling good on one end, but things are happening that aren't that good for you on the other side of it. So once you go organic plant-based, it's on a whole nother level. So but it's beautiful, but you're still here. But once you start eating raw vegan and you're not cooking the food to death and you have all the enzymes still left in the food, you go from here to there. Yeah. For sure. And, the fact, so really quick, how was that for you, that transition of going from cooked plant-based to raw plant-based, which you knocked out of the park?
Thank you. With no history of it, never doing it before, it was amazing. What I liked was the energy that I felt. I didn't feel sluggish after a meal. It actually improved my elimination. People were giving me compliments. Weight was coming off. My mind was clearer. Like my body was just thanking me, like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Was it scary? Yeah, because you've never done it. Like we talk now how great my sun burgers come out, but it was time it was too mushy, whatever. And you clearly say, don't mix all this up together, because it was more like a dip than an actual sun burger. So you got to do it different and maintain the texture and all that stuff. Yep. And I promise you, I don't even read the cookbook like I need to sometimes. I'll skim over it. I'll be missing some stuff. I'll be like, oh, maybe that's why. I should have seasoned a little different. Oh, maybe, I didn't add the oat groat that okay. Oh, this is the wrong dressing. Oh, okay. So even getting it wrong, I'm getting it right.
Amen.
Because the more you do it, the more you get a comfort for it, a confidence for it, a yearning. Your body's like, where my food, girl? Like, stop playing.
Yes.
That's what I was going to ask you. After you started cooking, raw vegan or preparing raw vegan, because you really are not cooking raw vegan unless you consider your dehydrated cooking, which is really not cooking it either. When you completed that first detox and you had your first experience of raw vegan and you did the juicing, did your body crave that like afterwards? Or in other words, did you want to go back to the cooked food, or was your body still craving the raw?
It was still craving the raw. It was the most gentle. It was the most silly.
Mhm.
It was the transitional part of it. Like she said, you can do plant-based, you can do organic plant-based, you could do junk plant-based. It's still
Oh, yeah.
plant-based. But when
Yeah.
you go organic and raw, so your body doesn't have to do all that work, because you got to remember, I was stage 4 with the CLL, and my lymph nodes had overgrown in my stomach, and it wasn't allowing the passage of food.
Mm.
Raw food was the only thing going down. And I was reading some people, they was like, oh yeah, I had to go to the hospital. They had to put me on the G tube and the blue, and hearing all kind of other stories, because the food, it didn't aggravate the lymph nodes, so it didn't make them grow more, and it allowed it to go down because it wasn't allowing cooked food. So it was a point I didn't have a choice, and I was so grateful to God and of course to Coach Carmen and you for introducing me that I could do something. I can help myself. I'm not like a prisoner to the medical matrix. Please cut my stomach open, pull this out, that. No.
Right. And you know what? She just basically brought home something that Coach Carmen, you've been saying forever. Life begets life. Because remember, raw food is live food. And I'm putting it together like that's the reason why your body accepted it, because it was looking for life. It was depleted by medications and cooked foods and things like that wasn't working for it. So when you gave it that raw food, it was like, life, yes, thank you. Now I can do what I have to do.
Oh my gosh, it is so true, because that is totally my story. Totally my story. And it still is my story. It was my story to save my life, but now today it's my story to stay at my healthy weight and to stay feeling good and have, like you said, having the clarity of mind. And it's just taking your whole life to another level. Who would think that food can do that to you? But it can, because we're vibration. We're vibrational beings, and the food is vibration. And the more life you have in your food, the higher the vibrational frequency is. And when your vibrational frequency is high, you're getting closer to the divine. Your frequency is more like God's frequency. And that's the difference. And that's why even today, when I eat my cooked food, my waistline, hey, the reason why I went back to eating cooked food after I got better was because of traditional reasons for eating. You're used to the cooked food. It tastes dang good. It's all of the things that you just fall back into your old ways. But to be honest with you, that's why in the cookbook and the updated cookbook, like I have so many recipes that will mimic and kick the cooked food in the ding, really. Because the reality is, if it tastes good, looks good, texture's right, smells good.
Right. Yes.
What's the difference? Like, why would we?
And no consequence. No consequences.
No consequences at
all.
all.
The only thing is good stuff. Because people look at me now, they be like, cancer where? Chemo who? You? I'm like, yeah.
Your skin is clear.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Okay, so my highest weight was 340 pounds. I had lost 92 pounds before I went to stage 4 and needed treatment. I was about to celebrate my 100 pounds when I had to start chemo. And I was I wasn't good. I was bad. So how we're saying how life begets life and living things and stuff like that. Well, that poison hated my body and it just ripped me apart. And when I would complain to the doctor, they would tell me, well, I have 90-year-old patients on it. Okay, well, I had chest pain 13 days on it. I went 13 years and 8 months of wait and watch, didn't need treatment, and 13 days on this medication. I'm in the emergency room.
Wow.
And you were on the chemo pill, am I correct?
Chemo pill, good point. Which was supposed to be nothing. Oh, it's like aspirin, you'll be fine, it's nothing. Thing tore me up. It ripped up my stomach. First it went for my heart. So I had the chest pain. I went into something called pleurisy. They didn't take care of it. 2 days later, I'm back in there. My lungs had filled up with fluid. I was just a hot mess. It started messing with my heart. I had fluid around my heart. It tore up my stomach. I have gastritis and esophagitis.
Oh, gosh.
And we're talking about acute. So when I had my colonoscopy and endoscopy in December, they was looking at it like, yeah, this is brand new. And it's so bad it has to be followed up. Like that thing burnt me. It was like lye, like acid was just sitting there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that hated me. So, and when the doctors wasn't listening, all I would do was come home and make my raw food and my juicing. Like that was the only, I had no other fight in me. But I would just come home and cook my food. I'd be like, God, you already told me what I need to do. Let me do that. And you're going to work on that over there. I can control this. You got them. You
Yes.
gonna fix it.
And she
Yeah.
mastered it. You mastered that raw food.
Yes, you did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
You
Yes, she
really,
did.
really did. And what I want to do is come back, have Coach Vera come back so that we can talk about the medical matrix. That's a whole nother story. And you are one of the most profound and dedicated and talk about wellness warrior. When it comes to the medical matrix, you are the warrior. And what you will be able to share is how people need to become more aggressive, more of their own advocate when it comes to their health in the world that we live in today. So we're going to hold that. We're going to talk about that for sure. But is there anything, Coach Denise, you wanted to say to close out?
This has been really great. I can't wait for people to actually see this, because it's going to be eye-opening for a lot of people who may have been on the fence about doing the detox. They hear her story, and I think it's going to bring a lot of people closer to making that decision to take that step and do the detox. So this has been great. This has been awesome.
It totally has been.
Thank you, Coach Vera.
Yes, Coach Vera. Is there anything else you want to say just to close out? And we're going to bring you back.
Just thank you for having me. And like Denise said, I pray that this will touch a lot of lives and wake people up to be more proactive and really put the self-care in there, because it's essential.
Amen. Amen. All right, everyone. So I'm going to ask that you like this video so that we can have the algorithms share it to more people, and also leave a comment and give Coach Vera some love below if you're watching on YouTube. And just if you have any questions for Coach Vera too, leave them below and we'll answer them when we come back for part 2. Okay. All right. So we love you and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
I hope you were blessed by this episode. If so, please be a blessing by liking and subscribing so that we can reach more sisters like you. Be sure to click the link in the show notes to download this episode's juicy free resource. And let's stay connected. Join our Sacred Self-Care Sisterhood Facebook group with daily inspiration for your body and soul, designed to awaken the kingdom heiress you truly are. Like our business page, where you can join me live for weekly food demos, self-care tips, and emotional healing support. Visit the website for a complete list of our programs and support tools. Beloved, life doesn't get better by simply praying. It gets better by receiving the support you need to get what you've been praying for. Set up your complimentary health and wellness support call by simply filling out my health and wellness assessment form and scheduling your call. See all details in the show notes below. And remember, you can soothe your soul, heal your body, and live your bliss in a time like this.